James Melendez, thank you so much for joining me on my channel today. Today is Olfactive Studio. This is called Selfie. Stay tuned and I'll tell you all about this eau de parfum. So huge fragrance lover here and very much appreciate all the things that Olfactive Studio does. And I think they do a remarkable job because fragrance is a difficult thing. There's a lot of fragrance out there, right? But ultimately, I think so few get it right. And I think Olfactive Studio is one where, I was compelled when I bought something called Ombre Indigo. So when I first found out about Olfactive Studio about a decade ago, I was totally entranced by the concept, by the packaging, but also the beautiful eau de parfum that is just sublime, beautiful, and original. Now, I think fragrance for me, because I'm a huge fragrance lover, is something that I don't love every fragrance, of course, who does? But it's thinking about things differently. So great complexity, great materials. I think the trained master perfumer is really, really amazingly hard to put all these things together. I think about old-time fragrances. I think about fragrances my mother loves. And for me, because she loves them, I love them too. And there's notations that I love and enjoy. I have a very specific viewpoint on fragrance, and that is I prefer more natural product versus something that's laboratory made or human made, because I think there's a way that our bodies wear them differently. The sillage, that means how long does it last, and is it cloyingly so, or does it really become part of your chemistry and expresses uniquely and differently, right? So I think that's a really wonderful thing. The master perfumer is Thomas Fontaine. So he's been part of the fragrance world for some time. In his free time, he loves to sing, and so he loves classical music. And I think this is a really, great ensemble of characterization that I think is absolutely sublime and beautiful. Packaging is wonderful. I believe it's changed, but I'll put more information on the producer down below for you to look at. So it has somewhat of an update, but I think the original packaging is very cool. So packaging simple and beautiful. I love the this top here. So the opal top here is beautiful, and also this 35 millimeter homage to the camera is there, and that's really a lot of their fragrance names, say Selfie or Auto Portrait, and so these really talk about photography. So there's a uniqueness to the packaging. So Selfie, that is, you're going to see yourself in this. So Céline Velour is the artistic director and founder of this fantastic house. I think she works exceptionally hard to create fragrances using master perfumers with a very specific focus and create successful fragrances. You can find these in the United States at a retailer called Barney's, but look online to see if you can find one. That if there's no Barney's, to seek them out and smell all their fragrances. What caught my eye originally was going through and seeing the colors. I'm very attracted by color, who isn't? But the colors are beautiful. The ombre indigo is this deep, beautiful, almost like a Klein blue. And for me, I thought this is really cool. Now this is much more of like a grayish blue, and I think it's absolutely sophisticated and beautiful. So I'll talk about the top, heart, and base notes. That's from the house themselves. It's also really important to give your perspective, because sometimes all these fragrances or the components or the materials are going to come together to express complexity and beauty. And from that, you might get something else in addition to that. Now, on the heart note is a quart of maple syrup, which is really evident, and I think it's a really cool note. I thought that was so much fun when I read that. Cinnamon, lily, and cabrueva. So on the base note is really giving some really fantastic characterizations, such as labdanum, patchouli, styrex, a quart of suede, and tonka beans. So all these come together and play harmoniously well together. And so here we go. I'm going to put some on, give you my characterization and a point score as well. Here we go. So I put it on my wrist, don't rub it around, and I put it on my ear as well. The reason I do that is if I put it and I just shaved on my neck, it's going to burn. So I don't want that to happen. I still get the same characterization and beauty. Sillage is wonderful. Eau de parfum, especially obviously great materials, they're going to have a nice sillage, a natural one, and one that's not going to be cloyingly so. So the magazine samples you get of fragrance in the US, well, those aren't natural. They're human-made usually, and they often smell the same. So entrancing, alluring, metropolitan, sophisticated on this, and playful. So those are descriptors to talk about this. The playfulness is in terms of the gourmand characterizations. so the tonka or the maple accord, the ginger notation, come through, but they're not the dominant note. If you buy a fragrance, and in my opinion, I don't do that anymore, is buying a fragrance of a gourmand quality, that is, maybe it's going to be like buttercream frosting, it tends to be so linear that you almost get tired of that fragrance right away. In terms of complexity, I want the woody notes, I want some musk, I want a very, I'd say, European interpretation of fragrance. And for me, I think it's a really handsome notation. So on this, I really enjoy the maple syrup. It actually feels almost guilty, like I need to wash my hands or something because of stickiness, but it's pleasant, beautiful. It cascades into the characterization of the wood. So the sandalwood is evident and noticeable. Also, the suede comes through. I'm getting notation of other things that aren't really listed in terms of the material components to this. So on that, I'm getting a cardamom note, so the warm notes of clove as well. So on this, to characterize this as smoke, going to wood, going to some gourmand characterization, and finishing off with some amber and even musk notation. So to me, that's my meaning from this that I get. 95 points out of 100 points. More reviews to come. Thank you for watching. Seek this producer out. I think they do such a fantastic job. So more information down below. The house produces, I'd say, over a dozen fragrances, all uniquely different. Look at the notation to see what you might be most attracted to, and go try them on. Thank you for watching. More reviews to come of fun fragrances and fashion. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more. Sante.